stolen seat, stolen heart, a dare gone wrong, Mia should have known better than to accept a dare from Ava. Her best friend was the queen of reckless ideas, and tonight's scheme was no different. They had been out for a casual dinner when Ava's eyes had gleamed with mischief. "There's a wedding happening at the Grand Astoria tonight," she had said, twirling a strand of her auburn hair. "Super fancy, super exclusive. And guess what? I heard some of the city's most powerful men are attending." Mia had rolled her eyes. "So, let's crash it." Mia had nearly choked on her drink. "Excuse me?" Ava grinned. "Oh, come on, Mia. You've been drowning in stress with school and your family drama. One night of fun won't kill you." She folded her arms, eyes twinkling. "I dare you." Mia should have said no, but something about the way Ava challenged her made her pulse race. She wasn't reckless, but maybe just this once she could be. And that was how she found herself slipping into the opulent ballroom of the Grand Astoria. The chandeliers sparkled overhead, the champagne flowed, and the scent of roses filled the air. She had intended to blend in, maybe steal a drink and leave. But then her eyes landed on a perfectly empty seat at a table near the center, a plush, inviting chair that practically called her name. She took it, and that was her second mistake. Luca DeLuca did not want to be here. Of all the ways he could be spending his evening, attending a wedding of a distant business acquaintance was at the bottom of his list. But when his uncle had insisted, saying it would be good for appearances, he had no choice but to show up. The moment he arrived, he regretted it. The flashing cameras, the insincere pleasantries, the endless conversations about power and money, it was suffocating. The conversations always ended with, "Cynthia, come in." He scanned the ballroom, already planning his escape, but just as he was about to turn toward the exit, something, or rather someone, caught his eye. A woman, seated at the groom's table, lifting a champagne flute with a playful smirk. She was stunning, with dark waves cascading over her shoulders and eyes that shimmered with mischief. She was completely out of place, yet somehow she looked like she belonged, and she had just stolen his seat. Luca stalked toward her, curiosity piqued. The moment she noticed him, her gaze locked onto his, and something in the air shifted. Mia had never been one to be easily intimidated, but as the man beside her fixed her with an intense, unreadable stare, she felt a prickle of something unfamiliar. Danger? Intrigue? Excitement. His strong jawline, dark hair, and broad shoulders made him look like he belonged in a high-stakes poker game rather than a wedding. But it was his eyes, smoldering, enigmatic, that made her heart race. Still, she wasn't one to back down. So, she said, lifting her glass. "Are you on the bride's side or the groom's?" His lips curled into a slow, almost amused smirk. "Neither." Her stomach flipped. There was something about his voice, deep, velvety, and laced with an edge of danger, that made her want to lean closer. "You seem a bit out of place," she observed. He leaned in slightly, the space between them growing smaller. "And you seem like someone who's about to get in trouble." Mia laughed, unfazed. "Trouble is my middle name." Before he could respond, a sharp voice cut through the air. "You? What are you doing in that seat?" Mia turned, finding herself face to face with a very flustered best man. She blinked. Sitting?" His jaw clenched. "That's the groom's seat." Mia froze. Oh, crap. And then she heard it. The whispered name, Luca DeLuca. Her head snapped toward the man beside her, the heir to one of the most feared mafia families in the country. Her pulse pounded. She needed to get out of here. But Luca's voice stopped her. "Stay." It wasn't a demand, nor a request. It was something in between. An irresistible pull, and, against every ounce of logic, Mia stayed. The next morning, Mia had barely finished her coffee when there was a knock at her door. She hesitated before opening it, only to find a tall man in a black suit holding out a phone. "Miss Mia, Mr. DeLuca would like a word." Her breath caught. This couldn't be happening. With shaking fingers, she took the phone. "Good morning, Mia." came the smooth, commanding voice on the other end. She swallowed. Hi. You intrigued me last night, Luca said, his tone unreadable. And now, it seems, we have some unfinished business. Her heart pounded. She had fallen into his world, and there was no way out. Luca's presence became a shadow in her life. She noticed things. A tuition payment mysteriously covered, her family's debts disappearing. A man who had harassed her at work suddenly backing off in terror. It was Luca. Always watching, always protecting. And yet, she knew the truth. His world was dark. His hands were stained. When she confronted him, the pain in his eyes nearly broke her. I never wanted to drag you into this, Mia, he murmured. But I can't stay away from you. Her heart ached. I can't be with someone who lives in this world, Luca. She wanted to walk away. She tried, but fate had other plans. The moment of truth, the attack came fast. Luca's enemies had been waiting, and they knew exactly how to hurt him, through her. Mia had never been in a situation like this before, but as men surrounded Luca, weapons drawn, something inside her snapped. She stepped in front of him. If you want him, she said, her voice steady, you'll have to go through me. Luca's hand tightened around her wrist. Mia, don't. I love you. The words tumbled from her lips before she could stop them, and in that moment, everything changed. Luca's enemies faltered. They had expected to break him, not strengthen him. And together, Mia and Luca stood against them. The danger passed, but Mia's decision didn't. She stayed. Not because Luca had saved her, but because she had saved him too. Their love was forged in chaos, but it was real. With Luca by her side, she found freedom, not just from her past, but from her fears. And as they stepped into the future together, she realized something. Sometimes, love wasn't about finding someone safe. Sometimes, it was about finding someone worth the risk. And Luca, he was worth everything.